Mark Olson is the coach of the Canadian team, a pretty fair country curler himself, third for Kerry Burtnick last year, if you remember, just a super curler. Kerry, as coach, you know, we look at it and we say 5-1, we're running out of ends. Is it time to put the lid on the toolkit?
Never say die. No. We're representing Canada, and we'll never quit as long as we got a couple of rocks left, enough to win the game. And I think need a two-ender or a big break somewhere along the line. I'm sure we're going to need some big breaks from here on in to make any move at them at all. They're curling very well. Yeah, Mark, I know it sounds like we're maybe making excuses, but it doesn't appear as though Mert and the rink have had any breaks all week long to speak of. They've had a couple. They had one against Norway and one against the Americans in the playoff game, but as of that, talking unbiasedly, that's all they've really had. Yeah, and the curling family's been going along very well, I understand? Well, yes. I've been getting bugged all week here, and I just like to say hi to my friends and family across the country, and I'd like to say a special hi to my father for winning the Canadian. Congratulations, Dad, and winning the Canadian Senior Men's yesterday. And I'm sorry I didn't get to you. I've been trying to call you all day, but... Sure. We know. Congratulations. Thanks very much. Okay. Hope the team comes back for you. Well, we're going to give it our best. Okay. Back to Don.
Yes, Albert Olson and his Manitoba rink, Lloyd Gunlickson, winning the skip, actually, winning the Canadian Seniors Championship, defeating Alberta. And I'm sure that Albert and Mark will have some interesting curling discussions over this coming summer months. Mark, of course, throwing third stone for Kerry Burtnick en route to the Canadian Championship a year ago. And the Canadian team really struggling now as, in attempting to throw up that center guard, they come up short of the hog line once again.
Well, Don, it's getting very frustrating for him. The Swedish team is curling very well. A couple of miscues by Canada. They've had a couple of opportunities to score 2 points, get back in the game. They're not taking advantage of it. And it's getting very frustrating for him out here. And, the game of curling can be very cruelty at times, and it's being very cruel to Mert Thompsett right now because he's been here twice before, and he's fighting his takeouts, as you say, and he's fighting his draw weight. And it's a very frustrating feeling to not know exactly what the rock is going to do.
Joe Gagne settling down in the hack. A member of a rather large family back in Winnipeg. Family of 6. His mother remarried. The man she remarried, a family of 8. So there are 14 now in the family. However, Joe is saying it's only about 7 at home right now.
Well, as Mark Olson said, they need a break, and they have to get 2 points somewhere along the way. They're slowly running out of ends. They're playing the 8th end. They're 4 down. It's not impossible. It's not a good situation, but it's not impossible.
Nicholas Jarun, the Swedish third. He'll be trying to run off that Canadian stone, sitting out front of the rings. 5-1 the score. Sweden in front, playing end number 8. He doesn't roll out of play, but that stone really doesn't offer much protection. As a matter of fact, I don't think it offers any, as it's only inches away from the boards.
Well, it's pretty tough to pull around that corner guard and catch a piece of the 12-foot. There's Mert Thompsett throwing up another guard. He doesn't care where he puts the guards now, center or at the side. On the corners, he has to put some protection out in front so he can draw around them and hope to score 2 or 3 points. Of course, they're talking over because Gagne and Friesen both hogged one, and they're maybe just saying to McTavish, it's getting a little bit stickier in here, so just throw a bit more. A little bit more weight, pulling well over. He's going to be over the hog line. And as we said earlier, Don, this Swedish team is playing with a lot of confidence, and they've been throwing fairly wide open takeouts. If Canada does get a nose hit here, Canada can get one around, they have to make tough shots. We keep emphasizing the fact that they're fairly wide open hits for Soren Grahn and his team, and they really haven't had a tough shot.
They're looking for the hit and the roll. That one is going to remain in play as well. So perhaps that's the stone that Thompsett was looking for. Try and come in behind.
Well, he's got a lot of room. There's 2 rocks over there, one offering protection in the 12-foot area. You know, you're 4 down. If he puts this one in around the corner guard and Sweden happens to miss it, then you go around that guard again, because now you're really going to gamble. You're going to go for 3 points. You might well pull out all stops and do a lot of gambling. So you'd go in around that same guard twice in a row.
Apart from the game, the final one in round-robin play on Thursday night that went to an extra end with the Swedes winning 4-3, the Swedish champions didn't really have a tough game all week. They whipped Italy 9-3, the USA 10-2, 8-5 over Scotland, 13-3 over France, 9-4 over Norway, 6-4 over Germany, 10-1 over Switzerland, and 9-5 over Denmark.
Boy, they have to hope that one hangs on. No, sir. That's a bad shot. And things are just not going well for Canada at all.
But yet you look back in this game, and on 3 ends, the 2nd end, the 6th end, and again the 7th end, the possibilities were there. An opportunity to perhaps get 2, get right back in the game. But on the 2nd end, the Swedes were able to steal one. They stole one again on the 7th end.
Well, that's right. They're a victim of their own poor shooting, really, because there are usually 1 or 2 ends in a curling game that dictate whether you win or lose. And we mentioned the fact that you have to put pressure on the other team. They're not doing it. They're not making their shots. Perfect example there. Bill McTavish Jr.'s got the cover up. He can go around it, throws it through the house.
Well, as Mert Thompsett said, and we reflect back to his pregame comments, the Swedes have been curling very, very well all week. They make very few mistakes. If they do make mistakes, we'll have to try and take advantage. Unfortunately for the Canadians, they have not been able to do that.
Well, that's right. You know, we're saying that Canada's missed a couple of opportunities, but I tell you, Sweden hasn't missed too many rocks down. They haven't given them any chances.
Mert Thompsett with his first stone of this 8th end. He was upset with the final stone on the 7th end. A bit of a tricky run in the ice, and he misjudged the weight, misjudged the ice on it. He has been having difficulties with this away end.
Interesting, he's playing the outturn draw in that very tricky area. You'll see that rock staying down the center. Now, what he's hoping that now it'll start pulling off that fall back turn. You see it starting to curl now. So he's going to put it in an area where there's a little bit of a fall. Hoping, of course, that Soren Grahn throws it just a little outside the broom. It'll catch that fall and float by the rock. And Soren, interesting enough, he just asked Nicholas Jarudin to move the broom over more, and like he's right beside the rock. You'll see it right there. He knows that it'll run very straight down there. What he doesn't know, I don't think, is the fact that if he gets it over too far, that rock is just liable to take off on him and go by on the inside. Well, he's throwing a lot of weight, and he's well down there. Now it's taking the fall. Now it's starting to curl. He's got a good shot.
He's been curling very, very well.
A lot of confidence. No hesitation. Goes down, moves the broom over right beside the rock, throws it up. You know, it's nice when you've got a 4-point lead. You're throwing with a lot of confidence. You know you can't miss. You know, and I'm sure that's the feeling Soren Grahn's getting right now, that he cannot miss a shot.
Well, we talk about Mert Thompsett and his experience at the international level, having competed and being runner-up in 1980 at the World Junior Championship in Kitchener. Soren Grahn is competing in his 2nd World Junior Championship as well. He played 3rd for Tony Yang in Moose Jaw in 1979, and he'll be combining talents with Tony Yang again when they go to the Air Canada Silver Broom in Garmouth. Canada will be taking one on end 8 as Thompsett drives out the Swedish rock, and after 8 ends of play, the score is Sweden 5 and Canada 2. 2 ends remain in this World Junior Championship in Fredericton, New Brunswick. We'll return after this.
feeling up and your friends are near, get a Labatt's Light, all you want in a beer. Now ain't that right? Labatt's Light on ice tastes light and smooth, and goes down so nice, get a Labatt's Light.
Which of these companies employs over 450 full-time service people in 60 offices across Canada? Wrong. It's not them. It's us, Pitney Bowes. You know us for mailing equipment. We'd like you to know us for our office copiers, too. We invite you to compare our copiers with those of any other company. As for service, remember we're the company with over 450 service people in 60 offices across Canada. Pitney Bowes. Call us for a demonstration.
When the Smiths entrusted their estate to Victorian Grey Trust, they did so with confidence. You see, we gave them their first mortgage back in 1930, and since then we've provided checking, saving, and other financial services for the whole family. Reg has an RRSP with us, as well as GICs whose rates will help pay for the kids' university. Now do you see why the Smiths are smiling? Victorian Grey Trust, serving the family since 1844.
Mondays at 7, watch Channel 5's Loeb Report.
According to a representative of the Conservative government last night on television, the Loeb Report, it means you got to move out of Toronto.
On crises that hit close to home, business, industry, and politics that affect our lives, community concerns in Toronto and Southern Ontario. Channel 5's Loeb Report, Mondays at 7.
Next week on Sports Weekend, we'll be live from the McIntyre Curling Club in Timmins, Ontario, the final of the Canadian Mixed Championship. And in 2 weeks' time, a special review of Canada's banner year in World Cup skiing. Also in 2 weeks, a special 1-hour report on all of this season's Canadian skiing championships. That's coming up on Sports Weekend. I'm Brian Williams, back at our control in Toronto. Before going to the 9th end of junior curling, let's update basketball. The University of Victoria Vikings are Canadian champions for the second year in a row. Vikings defeating the St. Mary's Huskies this afternoon, 74-60. In the NCAA, the Louisville Cardinals and the Hoyas from Georgetown are going to the Final Four. Louisville defeating Alabama. Birmingham, Georgetown, a surprisingly easy win over Oregon State. Right now, let's get back to the Uniroyal Junior Curling. And once again, here's Ernie Affiganis.
All right, Brian, and once again, as we have told you throughout this entire match, the Canadian team is under the gun. They were under the gun from the top in the first end, and now with 2 ends to play, the Canadian team is running out of time. They trail 5-2. Can they come back? Of course, it's possible, but very difficult against a Swedish team that is flawless, especially when they have to make a shot. And you know, Don, sitting up on top there, we expected a very noisy crowd this afternoon pulling for this Canadian team. They want to cheer for something, but as to this point, they have not had the opportunity to really explode.
Well, they have had difficulties, Ernie. The fans ready to provide the encouragement, and that's the Uniroyal Trophy. Simple, uncluttered, and that was the design behind the trophy, meant to symbolize the fresh, live look of the competitors. And right now, it looks as though it will be heading to Sweden for 1982. Sweden once before won the World Junior Championship back in 1975. Canada then won it for the next 3 years. Paul Gausel in 76, Bill Jenkins in 77, Gausel again in 78. But since then, Canada has been shut out. Don Barcombe of the United States in 79. Andrew McQuiston of Scotland defeating Mert Thompsett in 1980, and Peter Wilson of Scotland, the winner in 1981. That Canadian stone just on the edge of the 12-foot circle, and the stone just delivered by the Swedes, rolling over to the right-hand side, a corner guard that perhaps Thompsett will be able to take advantage of, although on this 9th end, last stone belongs to Soren Grahn, the skip of the Swedish champions. Canadian second, Joel Gagne.
Well, Canada has to do a lot of gambling here, Don. They might as well lose 7-2 as 6-5, so they might as well throw all the rocks out in front and try and gamble and get more than 1 or 2 in this end. You know, it's very difficult to come from behind, especially when the Swedish team has been playing so well. Here's a rock thrown in there by Joel Gagne that maybe should have been out in front. That's where Sweden wants to play, in the rings, wide open takeouts. In the rings, it's just a simple takeout for them. Out in front, if they hit it on the nose, then you draw around it. You know, they have tougher shots to play, but this way, Canada hasn't given them any tough shots.
Henrik Holmberg, the Swedish second, a pretty fair golfer. He possesses a 3 handicap. Could remove the 2 Canadian stones if he catches the one in the 12-foot right. He just slides it past that stone that appears to be biting, and the shooter rolls over to become shot in the 12-foot.
Well, things have a way of working out when you're going good and you're curling good. That particular time, the Swedish player just missed a double, but he rolled way over behind the corner guard on the right-hand side. And, Don, that looks to me like that rock is not in, but it's a very tough way to see the rock. You have to actually come over top of the rock and look down on it, because the running surface of that rock is a little bit wider, and it might be touching the edge of the 12-foot. So it's questionable whether that rock is in or out. They would probably measure.
There's no doubt about the Swedish stone sitting entirely inside the 12-foot circle, and that is the shot stone.
And just drawing down to it, Mert Thompson asking Bill McTavish Jr. just to come right down on top of it. He has to bring it in tight. He's got beautiful line. Just a question of weight now. Oh, nice touch. Beautiful shot by McTavish. Boy, they need a couple of those earlier on. They have to do all the gambling here. They might as well not hold back. Play the freezes, even though they don't have last rock.
Again, we look at that biter, and from that particular camera angle, I would say that it doesn't appear to be touching the 12-foot circle, but as Don Duguid said, it may require a measurement to determine whether or not that rock is on the rings. At the moment, however, they are playing to the other side of the house. Yarund, the third, trying to move some of those stones around. He takes his own out. The Canadian rock remains in the 12-foot circle. The shooter into the 8 to become shot.
Well, Thompsett overlooking at the rock belonging to his team behind the corner guard. It's well in behind that guard. You can see it on the right-hand side. You know, he's having another look at it because it may change his strategy in this particular. He does not have the advantage of last rock. And it looks to me like he's going to play a freeze to the Swedish rock in the back of the 8-foot. But I might be more inclined to hit it and stay there and say, okay, you hit it. And if you roll out, I'll go in behind that corner guard again. You know, freezing to it when you don't have last rock, maybe asking for trouble if it doesn't end up being a perfect freeze.
However, as you said earlier on this 9th end, they have to pull out all the stops. They have to gamble all the way.
Tavish, very strong here. He's got to hope that that rock curls. Now it's starting to make a move. Oh, now they should get on it. It's really starting to curl. Pretty good shot.
Well, Canada is lying 2, perhaps 3.
Well, they need a miss here, Don. They're not out of this game yet. They're 3 down. They have 2 and possibly 3 in the rings. They either have to get a hit and roll out or a miss.
Where they really need the miss is from Soren Grahn with his final stone.
Right. Well, I'm sure they'd take one right now. Off Niklas Jaruden. Very strong, a lot of weight. Now it's starting to move. Boy, they just don't miss. And not only that do they not miss, they don't roll one way or the other. They're very accurate.
They have done a fair bit of curling together. And this young rink from Sweden.
Now I think Canada has to gamble here. He has to play the free shot. Hoping, of course, that Soren Grahn comes down, drives it onto his own, takes his own out, and loses the shooter so that Canada can get another one in on top of the 4-foot. He has to gamble. you know, it's not a good position to be in, because if it backfires, Sweden could score 2 and you're right out of the game. But he has to gamble, throw up a freeze. The difficulty is that it's a very straight piece of ice. It does all its curling about the last 6 feet, and when it starts to curl, it cuts just about sideways. McTavish saying to his front end, Mike Fries and Joel Gagne, make sure it's here. He's got nice looking weight. Now they're waiting for the rock to start to curl. Now it's starting to move over. Oh, he's got a nice looking shot. Good shot. You can see a little bit of separation there, about a foot and a half between the Canada rock that's in the 4 foot and the Swedish rock in the back of the 8 foot there.
So the possibilities do exist for the Canadians on this 9th end.
Bill McTavish just went over and looked at that rock that we were concerned whether it was in or out on the left-hand side there. It's a big shot for Sweden. He's trying to hit this Canadian rock on the inside and drive it by his own at the back of the 8 foot. They're really starting to work on it.
He removes it cleanly and rolls to become 3rd shot.
Okay, decision time for Mert Thompsett. Do you play the freeze or do you play the wide open hit? And say, okay, Sweden, if you miss, we're going to score 2. If you hit and roll out, we're going to steal 1.
We caught a glimpse of that rock that was questionable earlier from our overhead camera, and it appeared as though it was outside the ring. There's another view of it on the left-hand side.
Ah, yes. Let me tell you, this is a big shot for Mert Thompsett, too, because he doesn't want to go by this one, and that'll leave Sweden either a free draw for 2 or a tap back for 3 on the one on the right-hand side. So this is a big gamble on Mert Thompsett's part. He would like to move the Swedish rock to the back of the 12 foot so that he lies 2. He would take a steal of 1 here, but he would certainly like 2 points. He has nice weight. McTavish watching the line very closely because it'll start to cut at the end. Now it starts to move over. He's going to have nice weight, move it to the back of the 12 foot and out through the back of the ring. Yes, good shot.
So now, Soren Grahn must hit and stay on that shot stone to pick up a point on end number 9. If the shooter rolls out, Canada could steal a single point. Of course, there is a chance that Canada could steal 2 with a miss by Grahn.
Well, unfortunately for Canada, and fortunately for Soren Grahn on this shot, there's been about 8 or 10 rocks going right down that spot, so he knows how the ice reacts. I don't think he'll miss this one, but he may overthrow it and have a tendency to hit and roll out. Not bad for Canada to still be 2 down coming home, but at least they'd have a chance. Oh, he's got a nice line. He's still on the outside of the center. The rock that he's trying to hit is right dead on the center line. No, he's good. Right on the nose. Little bit of a roll to the right-hand side.
Fine shot by Soren Grahn to pick up a single point on end number 9. And with 1 end remaining in this World Junior Curling Championship, Sweden leads Canada 6-2. We'll be back after these messages.
This is not a computer game. It is how we will all conduct our shopping in the very near future. Example, you're shopping for a front-wheel drive subcompact car and you want to know the models available. Now, which cars run on regular leaded gasoline? Which have negative steering roll radius? Which have fuel injection? Which offer an optional diesel engine? The system you've been watching is of the future. However, the information is current, accurate, and honest.
Sharp replaced 300,000 transistors and diodes with this tiny chip. It opened a whole new world of wonders. Like taking a big copier and everything it can do and making it into one of the smallest any paper copiers in the world. Introducing the Sharp SF750 copier. The Sharp SF750, a very small, very big idea. And where do big ideas like this come from? From sharp minds come sharp products.
easiest way to sell your home? You could try a little mood music. Something to nibble on, perhaps. But the easiest way is to use the real estate agent your friends do.
Hello?
They are?
It's the A.E. LePage agent Frank recommended, and she's bringing someone over.
A.E. LePage. They're knowledgeable, professional, and best of all, they know how to sell your home.
The Browns are on their way.
A.E. LePage, the name friends recommend.
It's the Barbara McLeod Show, live on Channel 5 for the news with Chris Henry.
Good afternoon.
And information. Barbara welcomes Channel 5's feature reporters to help you save money, save your health, and to fight back for you.
What irritated me were people who pretended they'd read it and clearly hadn't. You, I know, have.
You don't look bad yourself.
The Barbara McLeod Show.
Rick Lang of Northern Ontario in his rink won the Canadian Mixed Curling Championship last year. Lang was with Al Hackner last week as third man when they won the Brier Championship and now go to the Silver Broom. We'd like to remind everyone that CBC Sports Weekend will carry the mix next week from Timmins live. So keep that in mind as we bring you the major events in curling. Right now, it's back to the World Junior Curling Final. Here's Don.
Yes, Ernie, and Rick Folk, who was runner-up to Rick Lang last year at the Mixed Championship at the Wildwood Club in Winnipeg, will be back to try again in Timmins, Ontario. And that championship game will be coming your way, as Ernie said, on CBC Sports Weekend next Saturday. Rick Lang, Al Hackner, Bobby Nickel, and Bruce Kennedy, of course, making plans for the World Curling Championship coming up in 2 weeks' time in Garmisch-Partenkirchen, West Germany.
Don, Canada has 6 rocks left. They're 4 down coming home, and I don't think there's much chance that they're going to win this curling game, and it's unfortunate. They played spotty through the week, came fighting back when they had the special playoff game and the semifinal game. It looked like they were really starting to come on, and I felt confident that they were going to be very difficult in this game, but unfortunately, when you only score 1 point in the third end and 1 point in the eighth end, you're not going to win many curling games.
Well, as we pointed out several times, a frustrating experience, I'm sure, for the Canadian team as they have had their chances. Again, the second end, the sixth end, even the seventh end, where they had the opportunity to get the pair they were looking for after giving up a pair on the opening end.
Let me tell you, this is probably the most frustrating part of curling, when you're 4 or 5 down coming home and you're not curling very well and you got to throw the rocks to end the game. It is very frustrating to stand out there and hold the broom. And
well, the Swedes are now in the process of counting stones, I'm sure. There are only 5 Canadian rocks still to come.
Now's the time you start looking over and see if there's any rocks on the other sheet. Well, you know, they spend all year to get here. They do a lot of practicing, a lot of pressure situations, and you got to look for all other methods to see if you can't get back in this game. But I don't hold much hope for Canada.
Well, the Canadian team will be returning home to Winnipeg tomorrow afternoon, arriving back in Winnipeg at about 4:45.
Once again, Gagne. Little draw to the side of the 8-foot.
And immediately, Soren Grahn positions the broom for Nicholas Yaroun to remove that Canadian stone. And then the best the Canadians could do would be to tie. (6-2). The Swedes lead the Canadians, playing end number 10, the 1982 championship. There's a miss. So where there's life, there's hope. Yaroun with the miss on the Canadian stone, sitting in the 12-foot circle.
Well, it's not much hope, but at least it's a start. Don, just looking over the percentages here, Mike Friesen at 94% for Canada, Joel Gagne at 88, Billy McTavish at 81, and Mert Thompsett at 57 for a team average of 80. Conversely, Anders Svenserstedt is 67, Holmberg is 82, Jarund is 85, And Soren Grahn, 68, you know, like these percentages are very confusing to me because I think Soren Grahn has played a lot stronger game like that than that.
Yeah, I can't remember too many misses that he has made during the course of this game.
And I know that Mike Friesen, if I'm not mistaken, hogged a rock earlier, so that would get him down to about 96, 97%.
The stone by McTavish has to hang around, but it appears a little too strong. It is going to slide on through.
Oh boy!
I just looked down at the hack, and Jeroen looked over at the Canadian stones, the 3 stones sitting in the corner, and he looked over again, and I'm sure said to himself, "I missed last time. I can redeem myself if I hit and drive this Canadian stone out. It's all over."
And he's got a piece of it, Don. It's all over. Sweden's the new world champions. Canada, Mert Thompsett once again runner-up.
So it's the Soren Grahn rink from Karlstad, Sweden. The 1982 World Junior Curling Champions. A 6-2 record over Canada's Mert Thompsett will go into the books. Soren Grahn, Nicholas Jeroen, Henrik Holmberg, and Anders Svennerstedt, the 1982 World Champions. And for Soren Grahn and Nicholas Jeroen, an opportunity to make 1982 quite a year, as they will be moving on to the Air Canada Silver Broom, representing their country. They will be combining talents at the Air Canada Silver Broom with Connie Osmond and Tony Yang. And now at ice level, let's hear from the championship skip.
Yes, Don, the champion, as you said, he was steady all the way through. Soren, you did not miss any shots you had to make. All the important shots you made.
Yeah, I thought that. And he only lost 2 once, and I'm happy.
But it seemed as through the entire spiel, right from the beginning, you had good control. Your rink was curling well. You didn't have any very tough games. You were always in control.
We was not so good out in the, in the 5th end.
Yes.
They got corner guards and that down there, and we had luck even in the 6th.
In the 6th? Well, a bit of luck, yes.
He had tempo for 2, and when he missed, okay. This here outside, I maybe had a very lucky stone. I didn't slide too well, and I must push it out.
I think the fact that your rink came over a week early and had settled down a little bit in Canada helped you just a bit to sort of get acquainted and get set for this field, didn't it?
Yeah, we had a lovely time in Quebec, and all the trip before it was lovely. We had good people with us. Michel was one of them, and Jean Robert one other, and I want to thank you them for that.
Well, you enjoyed it. Congratulations. We'll see you now on the Silver Broom.
Yeah?
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Soren. Don?
All right, Ernie.
We're going to be back in just a moment with the closing ceremonies. More from the Aitken Center in Fredericton, New Brunswick.
The radio tire. Let man slash through spring and blaze through summer and storm through fall. But winter, icy winter, could still turn winter driving into slapstick comedy. It was still man 3, nature 1. So Uniroyal invented the radials with a traction compound that bites and grips through winter ice and snow. See Uniroyal for the next generation of radials. The all-season, 4-season radial.
How do you know exactly when to shift gears to get top gas mileage? Until now, only an engineer could tell you that. But now there's a car that can tell you. How does it tell you? By making this little dashboard light go on. Shift up each time you see it, and you can take advantage of additional fuel savings. Where can you find that kind of science fiction technology? In the 1982 Volkswagen Rabbit. Another reason why you should think about Rabbit.
On Marketplace this weekend, we'll talk about the health risks of getting a suntan indoors. I'm Joan Watson.
And I'm Bill Paul. We'll also be looking into the future when we probably won't carry any money. Electronics will do it all. A good or bad idea.
Marketplace,
on CBC television, Sunday night at 10, 10:30 in Newfoundland.
From now on, a program of information and entertainment for the older adult. Seems more and more people are joining Pearl and Cy every week for Channel 5's From Now On.
Back at the Aitken Center in Fredericton, New Brunswick, the officials marching in as the closing ceremonies are about to get underway. And throughout any curling competition, a lot of hard-working volunteers are required to make the event a success, and that has certainly been the case in Fredericton, New Brunswick. Behind-the-scenes work, making the week most enjoyable for participants and spectators alike. It's been a particularly pleasant week for Soren Grahn, Nicholas Jarund, Henrik Holmberg, and Anders Fennerstedt. Unbeaten through 10 games, 9 straight in round-robin play, and their championship game victory 6-2 over Mert Thompsett of Canada. The officials now being marched in, and very shortly the presentation of the Uniroyal Trophy, the All-Star Awards, and the Most Sportsmanlike Player Award will be made. A full house in attendance at the Aitken Center for the final draw. Crowds have been quite good throughout the week. One of the largest for the Thursday night game, featuring unbeaten Sweden and the Canadian team at the time 6-2. That one went to an extra end, 4-3, the Swedes prevailing. And the Swedes came back again today for a 6-2 victory. The Uniroyal Trophy and the All-Star Awards that will be presented very shortly. The Swedes in this championship game playing with the same precision that carried them to their 9 straight victories. Now the rinks entering the Aitken Center, the competing nations in this 1982 championship. Ernie Afaganas has moved upstairs and is joining me in our broadcast position. Ernie, I think the most popular rink throughout the week, definitely the foursome from Italy.
Well, you know, the Italians have a flair. They come dressed to kill with those jumpsuits that everyone fell in love with and practically tore off their bodies. They're very friendly, and I understand they all want to stay in Canada. They don't want to go home.
Adriano Lorenzi and his Italian champions. The German team now marching in. The former world champion, Otto Danieli, is the coach of the German team. France, Norway, Switzerland, the United States, Dale Risling and his Seattle team lost to Canada's Mert Thompsett in a special playoff to determine the semifinalists. And now the medalists are being piped in.
Medal winners, the gift to be got from the team from Scotland. Robin Gray, Mark Stokes, Drew Howie, and David Mack.
The bronze medalists, Robin Gray, Mark Stokes, Drew Howie, and David Mack.
Coached by the very popular Chuck Hay, who, by the way, is on his way back to Europe now to be one of the judges, or I guess the chief judge in the World Championship for ladies.
And Chuck Hay, the coach, was also Coach of the Year last year. The silver medalists. For three of them, the second time that they have been relegated to a runner-up position. Mert Thompsett, Joe Gagne, and Mike Friesen went through it before in 1980, losing to Andrew McQuiston of Scotland when the World Junior Championship was played in Kitchener. Bill McTavish at third stone has replaced Lyle Derry. Disappointment, of course, for the Canadian champions. For Mike Friesen, a particularly frustrating year. He finished third at the Canadian Junior Men's Championship in Swift Current and second here in Fredericton, New Brunswick. And there they are, the champions. Soren Grahn, Nicholas Jarund, Henrik Holmberg, and Anders Svennerstedt. They curl from the Karlstad Curling Club in Karlstad, Sweden, the site of the 1977 Air Canada Silver Broom, won by countryman Ragnar Kemp.
Holmberg and Anders Svennerstedt.
And Ernie, as we pointed out earlier, for Soren Grahn and Nicholas Jarund, an opportunity to make this quite a year as they team up with Tony Ostlund and Tony Eng at the Silver Broom.
And they'll be tough. If he continues to curl that way, Don, particularly when we have, many teams overseas on strange ice, they're going to be a tough rink.
From Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, the final of the Uniroyal World Junior Curling Championship is over. Welcome to the award ceremonies. The bronze medals will be presented to the team from Scotland by the President of the International Curling Federation, Mr. Sven Eklund.
I think this must be a very proud moment for Sven Eklund as he is presenting the bronze medals to the third place finishers, the team from Scotland. But I think sitting in the background, he was doing a little rooting this afternoon for his countrymen, the youngsters from Sweden, and they were successful.
You can't blame him, though. He watched them curl. He said that he's responsible for about a dozen nations, but he says, when you're from Sweden, you have to pull for them. And he was very proud. He was talking to us yesterday, if you remember, and he said that this was the junior rink, the best he's seen in a long, long time. So they proved it today, didn't they?
Presenting the silver medals to the second place team will be the president of the Royal Caledonian Curling Club, Mr. Jim Whiteford.
And of course, for the past 2 years, Scotland has won the World Championship. Presentation of the second place silver medals. Mert Thompsett, Bill McTavish, Joe Gagne, and Mike Friesen. Jim Whiteford from the Royal Caledonia Curling Club presenting the silver medals to the Canadian team. Disappointed, but they still curled very, very well.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Lorne Hiller, Vice President of Uniroyal, to present the awards to the world champions. Mr. Hiller.
And center stage belongs to the world champions from Sweden. Presentation of the Uniroyal Trophy.
Incredible, Don. Incredible. It looks like he'd come out on a tricycle. Youngster with lots and lots of talent. Wow.
Individual medallions as well. To the skip, Soren Grahn, 20-year-old third. Nicholas Yaroun. Second, 19-year-old Heinrich Holmberg. And 18-year-old Anders Fennerstedt, the lead on the World Championship rink from Sweden.
Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames, messieurs, le Premier ministre de la province du Nouveau-Brunswick, the Premier of the province of New Brunswick, the Honorable Richard Hatfield, will now present awards to the All-Star team. The All-Star recipients were selected by a team of officials based on all-round performance during the round robin. Will the following competitors please come forward? The All-Star lead, Mike Friesen, Canada.
He curled well, didn't he, John?
Indeed he did.
Yeah. You're right. He is disappointed. You can see it there. He's fighting back that disappointment, trying to show that, you know, it wasn't all that bad.
The All-Star.
Some emotion on the
All-Star
stand there.
second, Joel Gagne, Canada.
So the Canadian front end is the All-Star.
The All-Star third.
Some compensation,
Nicholas
but they
Gerald
wanted that in
Sweden.
the Royal Trophy.
It's all nice, but the World Championship is the thing.
Yaroun of Sweden, the All-Star third.
The
And
All-Star
the All-Star skip.
Soren Grahn, Sweden.
Soren Grahn of Sweden. So this has indeed been quite a week. You know, this rink, curling at the junior level, has not lost a game since November. A rather impressive record.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Worship Mayor Elbridge Wilkins.
They just make the important shots, Don. As Doogie was saying, they don't miss the one they have to
and
make.
voted by the players themselves. Will Christoph Moiko of Germany please come forward?
Christopher Mokel of Germany, chosen the most sportsmanlike player.
A lot of personality, doesn't he?
He's got quite a smile.
Oh, yeah. Get him for the toothpaste ads.
Mesdames, Messieurs, here is the Vice President of Uniroyal, Mr. Lorne Hiller, who wishes to say a few words.
Merci, mesdames et messieurs. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great week of curling, and we are sorry to see it come to a close. However, worthy champions have been declared in these fine young gentlemen from Sweden. Felicitaciones tous. Congratulations to all the competitors. You are a credit to the game, a credit to your team, and a credit to the country you represent. You gave us many memorable moments. Et à tous les amateurs de curling de Fredericton, un grand merci pour votre soutien. To the fans of Fredericton, thank you for your loyal support. And to Doug Johnson and his hard-working organizing committee, all 300 and more of you, you accepted a difficult and time-consuming challenge, and you performed it with excellence. À l'année prochaine à Medicine Hat. See you next year in Medicine Hat. Merci.
So the championships have been concluded. Sweden has won the World Junior Championship over Canada. Sports Weekend will continue in just a moment.
Budweiser salutes everyone who puts food on the table.
That's for you. There's no one else who does it quite the way you do. For all you do, this Bud's for you.
Yeah, this Bud's for you if you like your beer with a clean, crisp taste. The Beechwood-aged Budweiser taste and smoothness you'll find in no other beer. Now brewed in Ontario.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
Tonight is Hockey Night in Canada. CBC covers all the action and excitement starting live at 8 Eastern.